think about your morning today. I mean, not the commute, not the coffee, but those first 10 or 15 minutes right after you dragged yourself out of bed.
Yeah, that sort of stumbling into the bathroom phase.
Right, exactly. You stumble in, you turn on those harsh lights, and you just start your routine. You brush your teeth, you wash your face, maybe you use, I don't know, a toner, some moisturizer, a little deodorant, a layer of makeup.
All that stuff we just do on autopilot.
Totally on autopilot. You enjoy the scent of the soap, the cool feeling of the lotion. It feels like a fresh start to the day. You're getting clean, right? You're taking care of yourself.
It's a ritual we rarely question. I mean, we really just trust those bottles lining our shelves.
We really do. But today, our mission for this deep dive is to look at a brand new study that basically shatters that trust. And then, surprisingly, offers a really simple way to rebuild it.
Yeah, it's quite a roller coaster of a study.
It really is.
Yeah.
So this research comes from INSERM, which is the French National Institute of Health and Medical Research. And they worked alongside the University of Grenoble-Alpes and the CNRS. And the study was just published on May 14th, 2026.
And what they found is pretty groundbreaking.
Right, because they proved that our everyday morning routines are essentially polluting our bodies with complex endocrine disruptors. But more importantly, they uncovered this biological loophole that allows you to reverse that pollution in just 5 days.
Which is huge. Because the stakes here, they go far beyond like a mild skin allergy.
Yeah.
To really understand what this study is sounding the alarm on, we have to look at the endocrine system.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit.
So think of the endocrine system as your body's internal communication network. It uses hormones as chemical messengers to basically tell your cells what to do, how to grow, when to reproduce.
Like the body's internal Wi-Fi.
Exactly. And endocrine disruptors are substances that infiltrate that network. They mimic your natural hormones, or sometimes they block them entirely.
So it literally is like someone hacking your body's Wi-Fi and sending false signals.
That is exactly what it's doing. And the study emphasizes that these specific disruptors are suspected of interfering with fertility, disrupting the reproductive system, and severely altering childhood development.
Taking a harmless-looking bottle of face wash and realizing it might be hacking your internal Wi-Fi that's a pretty terrifying concept.
It's unsettling, for sure.
And reading about invisible chemicals can feel so abstract and just overwhelming. So how did the researchers at INSERM actually test this in the real world? Like, to see if our bodies could fight back?
Well, they took a brilliantly practical approach, actually. The researchers wanted to observe real human beings in their normal environments, not just, test tubes in a lab.
Right, real-world application.
Yeah. So they recruited about 100 female students in Grenoble, all between the ages of 18 and 30. And they gave them a very strict 5-day cosmetic restriction.
Okay, wait, 5 days. That feels like barely any time at all to test long-term chemical exposure.
You think so, right. But the protocol was very specific. It had 2 main pillars. First, the participants were asked to significantly reduce the overall number of cosmetic products they used daily. Just minimize the routine.
Okay, so just use less stuff.
Right. And second, for their non-negotiable hygiene needs, like soap, toothpaste, basic moisturizer, they had to lock away their usual commercial brands. Instead, they used alternative products provided directly by the laboratory.
I'm assuming those lab-provided products were stripped down to the bare essentials. What exactly was missing from them?
They were specifically formulated to be completely free of synthetic phenols, parabens, phthalates, and glycol ethers.
The heavy hitters?
Exactly. In the commercial cosmetic world, those are the heavy hitters. Phthalates are often used to make fragrances linger on your skin, while parabens are preservatives that stop bacteria from growing in water-based lotions.
Which gives them a shelf life of, several years.
Right. So the researchers took baseline urine samples from the women before the restriction began, and then took another set of samples right at the end of the 5 days.
And the numbers that came back from those second urine tests, that is what completely blew my mind in the source text.
Yeah, it wasn't a subtle shift.
Not at all. The drop in chemical presence wasn't some marginal single-digit change. The researchers found a 22% drop in monoethyl phthalate, or MEP.
Which is incredibly significant when you consider that MEP is one of those ubiquitous fragrance fixatives.
Yeah.
If you've ever used a shampoo where the scent stays in your hair until the evening, MEP is likely the compound doing the heavy lifting there.
Wow. And then, looking at the preservatives, they saw a 30% drop in methylparaben.
And another preservative, propylparaben, basically vanished entirely.
Wait,
Yeah,
vanish?
it fell below the level of detection in a large portion of the subjects.
Seeing a physical change of that magnitude in under a week is just striking. It feels like it completely rewrites our understanding of how these specific pollutants behave in the human system.
It really does.
And that's the part I want to dig into because to me, it feels counterintuitive.
That's
Well, I always assumed that if I spent decades slathering these conventional products on my skin day in and day out, I'd be dealing with decades of toxic buildup. It's almost like I keep thinking of it like a computer's browser cache. You'd think a lifetime of using these products would take months to detox from. Why does the body dump these substances so incredibly fast if they are so harmful to us?
That's a great question. And Nicholas Jovanovic, the lead author of the study, he's a doctoral student at the University of Grenoble-Alpes. He addressed this directly.
Oh, what did he say?
He noted that this rapid plummet in chemical concentrations was actually exactly what the scientific team anticipated. It comes down to the specific pharmacokinetic nature of these substances.
Okay, pharmacokinetic nature sounds like something straight out of a medical textbook.
It is a bit dense, yeah.
Can we ground that in a biological reality? Like, how does that actually work in the body?
Let's break it down. Pharmacokinetics is essentially the study of how an organism processes a chemical, how it gets absorbed, distributed, metabolized, and excreted. The key here is that these specific cosmetic chemicals, these parabens and phthalates, are water-soluble.
Oh, water soluble.
Right. When they enter your body, your liver and kidneys recognize them, process them, and flush them out through your urine very efficiently. They do not behave like persistent organic pollutants.
Okay, let me see if I can picture this. Are you saying these water-soluble chemicals are kind of like dust on a car windshield?
Yes,
It's like a quick spray of wiper fluid, or in this case, our kidneys doing their job, just washes the dust right off?
that's a perfect analogy.
But other toxins, things like lead or older agricultural pesticides, those are fat soluble. So they are more like a stone chip in the glass. They embed themselves in our fat tissues and just stay there permanently.
That is an excellent way to visualize it, yes. The parabens and phthalates in your lotion are the dust on the windshield. The immediate danger isn't that a single application lodges in your body forever. The danger is the chronic redosing. We are basically constantly driving through a dust storm. We wash it off, but then we wake up the next morning and slather a dozen products on our skin, immediately redosing ourselves.
We just never stop pouring it in.
Exactly.
But Jovanovic is right. That is a highly encouraging sign. If the chemical is just dust on the windshield, it means you aren't fighting a losing battle against the past 20 years of your life.
Yes. If you change your habits today, your body responds immediately.
It gives the consumer a tremendous amount of agency, which I love. But reading further into the study, it also uncovered a second finding that really complicates that sense of control.
Ah, yes, the BPA finding.
Right, because while they were tracking the expected drops in parabens and phthalates, the urine test revealed a massive 39% drop in a completely different chemical, bisphenol A.
Which was a major plot twist for the researchers.
Now, I want to pull up the source text here because I'm seeing a huge contradiction. The European Union classifies bisphenol A BPA as a substance of very high concern.
Yes, it is.
It is a proven endocrine disruptor, and it is presumed reprotoxic, meaning it actively harms human reproduction.
It is one of the most heavily scrutinized chemicals in the world for exactly those reasons.
Right. And because it's so heavily scrutinized, the source text explicitly states that BPA has been banned as an ingredient in French cosmetics since 2005.
Right, over 20 years ago.
So wait, let's unpack this. If it's been illegal for 2 decades, how is a highly illegal banned ingredient showing up in the urine of 100 university students and then dropping by 39% when they change their soap?
This is where Claire Philippot, an INSERM researcher and the senior author of the study, uncovered a rather dark irony.
Dark irony.
Yeah. The cosmetic companies aren't secretly mixing illegal BPA into the vats of face cream. The problem isn't the ingredient list at all.
Okay.
The problem is the packaging.
Are you serious? So you aren't absorbing the product, you're absorbing the packaging.
That is the grim reality of it. BPA is heavily used as a building block in the production of certain hard plastics and epoxy resins. The manufacturing of the pump bottles, the plastic tubes, and those hard caps often involves BPA.
Oh, wow.
Now, in Europe, food packaging is strictly regulated to ensure BPA doesn't leach into our meals. But cosmetic and hygiene packaging simply does not face those same rigorous restrictions.
Wait, really? So if I buy leftover pasta in a plastic container at the supermarket, the plastic is heavily regulated by law to protect my health.
Yes.
But the moisturizer I am actively rubbing into my open pores every single morning is sitting in a plastic bottle that is legally allowed to shed a reprotoxic chemical directly into the liquid.
The data strongly suggests that is exactly what is happening. Philpat explains that the BPA contamination likely occurs through leaching.
How does that happen exactly?
Think of the cosmetic liquid sitting inside that plastic bottle for months on a warehouse shelf. It's experiencing temperature changes, transport, all of that.
Right, sitting in a hot truck.
Exactly. Over time, the chemical bonds in the plastic can break down, and the BPA migrates from the walls of the container straight into the product. When you pump the lotion into your hand, you are applying the leached plastic along with it.
That completely flips this entire issue upside down. I mean, it shifts the threat from the chemistry of the formulas to the physical plastic sitting in our showers.
That's a much harder problem to spot.
And if this plastic loophole is quietly dosing 100 students in Grenoble, what happens when you multiply that by millions of people across Europe?
Well, the researchers wanted to know the exact same thing. For the first time in this specific type of cosmetic research, the scientists conducted a comprehensive health impact assessment.
Oh, that's fascinating, yeah.
Remy Slama, a research director at INSERM, led a team to scale up these findings to a population level.
Did they look at the combined effect of all these chemicals, like the parabens and the BPA together?
No, they actually wanted to be very precise. Slama's team isolated just the reduction in BPA, setting aside the phthalates and parabens entirely.
Okay, focusing just on the packaging loophole.
Exactly. They looked solely at the health benefits of eliminating that leached BPA from everyday routines. And their models estimated that a population-wide reduction could prevent approximately 4% of all childhood asthma cases related to in utero exposure.
Why? Wait, 4%?
Yes, 4%.
4% of all childhood asthma cases? That is a staggering amount of human suffering. But I need to understand the biology here. How does a chemical leaching from a plastic bottle onto a pregnant mother's skin translate to a baby struggling to breathe years later?
It goes back to how endocrine disruptors hijack the communication network we talked about earlier.
The Wi-Fi hacking.
Right. Fetal development is an incredibly delicate, time-sensitive process. Hormones act as the architects and timers for building the baby's organs, including the lungs.
Okay, I'm following.
Estrogen, for example, plays a vital role in signaling how lung tissue should branch out and develop.
And BPA mimics estrogen, right?
Yes. So when BPA enters the mother's bloodstream and crosses the placenta, it acts like a rogue architect walking onto the construction site and shouting false orders.
Wow.
It scrambles the hormonal signals guiding the lung development. This can lead to structural deficits in the airways or alter the immune system's responses, resulting in hyperreactive airways, which we diagnose later as asthma.
That is heartbreaking. A child ending up in the emergency room with an inhaler because we didn't regulate the plastic casing of a shampoo bottle.
It really puts the stakes into perspective.
It does. And beyond the human toll, there is a massive economic weight to this, right? Treating asthma requires lifelong medication, doctor visits, hospitalizations. It's a huge healthcare cost.
The economic modeling in the study concerns that. Slama's projection found that preventing just those specific asthma cases, again, linked only to the BPA from cosmetic routines, would result in an estimated savings of up to 9.7 million euros per year in healthcare costs.
Nearly 10 million euros every single year just from fixing the packaging.
And Slama is careful to emphasize that these are hypothetical projections based on complex models.
Sure. Yeah.
But the exact dollar amount isn't really the point. The point is to prove that what we put on our skin is a massive public health policy issue. It's not just a matter of personal wellness or beauty. It is an economic and generational health crisis.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. What are we supposed to do about it? Because honestly, navigating a pharmacy aisle right now feels like walking into a rigged maze.
A rigged maze is the perfect way to describe the current consumer experience.
I mean, if the danger is in the plastic bottle, not the ingredient list, how are consumers supposed to shop their way out of this problem? I can stand in that aisle squinting at the back of a face wash bottle for 20 minutes. I can scour the tiny text on the ingredient list to make sure there are no parabens or phthalates.
Right.
But I am legally blind to the toxicity of the plastic bottle holding the face wash. The BPA is never going to be on the label because it's not an ingredient.
You've hit on the exact tension the researchers highlight in their conclusions. It's the conflict between personal responsibility and systemic failure.
It feels very unfair to the consumer.
It is. Remy Slama points out that currently there is no mandatory logo or warning system indicating the presence of leaching plastics in cosmetics.
Nothing at all.
Without that transparent labeling, it is functionally impossible for individuals to accurately interpret packaging and avoid these risks at the point of purchase.
We are just guessing, hoping the brand is as clean as their marketing department claims. So, what does Claire Philippat suggest we do if the system is this broken?
Well, Philippat acknowledges that individuals can take some immediate control to lower their exposure. The 5-day detox proves that.
The wiper fluid clearing the windshield.
Yes. You can minimize the sheer number of products you use. Instead of a 10-step routine, simplify it to 2 or 3. You can specifically seek out brands that use glass containers or explicit verifiable packaging standards. But she stresses that these personal choices are just a band-aid.
Because we cannot expect the public to outshop poor regulations.
Exactly. The ultimate durable solution cannot rest on the shoulders of the consumer holding a magnifying glass in the soap aisle. It requires systemic regulatory measures.
That makes total sense.
Philippat concludes that we need laws governing not just the chemical composition of the liquids, but strict, uniform regulations on the materials used for the packaging itself.
If the rules allow toxic packaging, the toxic packaging will end up in our bathrooms. You really shouldn't need a degree in chemistry and a deep understanding of plastic supply chains just to safely wash your face.
You really shouldn't. And regulating chemical substances in everyday consumer products is a fundamental requirement for protecting population health.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the INSERM study, I want to recap the big takeaway for you listening. Despite the rigged maze of the pharmacy, and despite the lack of packaging regulations, you do have an incredible amount of agency.
Yes, you absolutely do.
This study proves that your body is remarkably efficient at protecting you. Those water-soluble chemicals are just dust on the windshield. Simply minimizing the number of cosmetics and hygiene products you use can drastically drop your chemical burden in less than a week. Your biology is waiting to bounce back if you just give it a break.
It is a deeply empowering realization. But I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder, one that builds on that very idea of rapid elimination.
Okay, what is it?
Well, we established that our kidneys are fantastic at filtering these chemicals out and flushing them into our urine.
Right, the wiper fluid clearing the glass.
Right. But think about the sheer scale of that mechanism. If millions of people in a single city are waking up using these cosmetic products and their bodies are naturally processing and flushing these known endocrine disruptors out every single morning.
Oh, wow.
Where do all those chemicals go?
Down the drain.
They go down the drain. They flow into municipal water treatment plants, which are rarely designed to filter out complex microscopic endocrine disruptors. From there, they flow out into our rivers, our lakes, and our oceans.
That is it.
If these chemicals are disrupting human hormonal systems, interfering with fetal lung development, and acting as reprotoxins in us, what are they doing to the aquatic life, the amphibians, the fish, and the entire water system once they leave our bodies?
That is a staggering thought. It connects the solitary, quiet ritual of our morning bathroom routine to the health of the entire global ecosystem. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Tomorrow morning, when you stumble into that bathroom and turn on the harsh lights, I have a feeling you are going to look at those plastic bottles on your shelf with fresh eyes. Until next time.